5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Go Get Your Shine Box. As usual, I'm with Joe and Paul. You guys want to say hey?
Aloha. Again, I want to just say how much I adore... no, never mind. I'm just going to piss Paul off.
Yeah, you know, you're, well, I don't even know what to do with you anymore. I can't even, as the kids say, you know?
Yeah, Tulsi. Right? Tulsi.
Tulsi is approved opposition. Gateway baloney. Anybody that falls for Tulsi deserves.
Okay. We had to just get that off our chest.
Why don't we offline record that intro and keep playing it
every week?
Save us a lot of trouble.
It seems like every time the A word's used.
Hey. This is your favorite retard savant from North Jersey.
Oh, how you doing, Paul?
I'm all right. How you doing, man?
Good.
And Jim?
Hey, do you want me to close the door? I knock, we start all over again.
I want to say hello to my little friend.
What about you? Where you got your stuff?
So speaking of Tulsi, we're going to make fun of some other women, being the patriarchal misogynists that we are, and just about having our fill with stupid women.
Oh, whoa. Look, do not disrespect Tulsi, okay?
All right, she's probably not stupid. She's
Thank
just
you.
a woman.
She's
no business being in office, no business voting.
Oh, geez. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
There we go. So anyway, this could be coined as a Red Meat Wednesday or Low Hanging Fruit Hump Day, whatever. But and I got to say, we started planning this a little bit earlier in the week, actually over the weekend, and everybody jumped on the whole Alyssa Milano tweet, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not even the slightest bit embarrassed to say that her stupidity got me hook, line, and sinker, because sometimes, as Joe was talking about earlier, maybe we'll bring it back up. Sometimes people like that maybe shouldn't be in the limelight. Be that as it may.
This is not the first time that stupid has gone viral.
Well, it's funny because when I hear her talking and I see her talking, I don't hear anything. I'm just like looking at her, and
you're a pig.
I can see her now. Eyes up here, buddy.
Don't be staring at my asymmetrical breasts.
Listen, man, I'm sorry, but she's so damn good looking. It's hard to be upset with her. All right, I had to say it.
Joe, that's called pretty girl privilege.
Yeah, but I don't have to agree with anything she says. I mean, she is a little stupid, but she's not stupid. She's ignorant. She's uneducated.
Well, I'm going to say this because I did a little research. I did dug a little deeper than the normal people dug. I have to admit, we did. And
you only got to go 6 feet.
I think, yeah. Well, with her, yeah. Put it this way: with her, it takes her an hour and a half to watch 60 minutes. So this one's not very bright. And we have some live feed clips to prove that. And then y'all, as they say down south, could make up your mind. But anyway, the basis of this whole thing was the tweet, because the girl formerly in love with Elon Musk, for some strange reason, doesn't believe that in free speech, according to the Twitter platform, but blah, blah, blah. Anyway, she's basically said, I gave my Tesla back. And I read that at first. I thought it said Tulsi. But I gave my Tesla back. I bought the VW Evo, or EV.
Well, let me
finish here.
I want to know one thing. What do you mean she gave it back?
Well, if you read between the lines, she didn't give it back. She traded it in.
Okay.
No, she lives in Los Angeles, man. She left the freaking keys in it.
And it was gone.
Yeah.
They stripped it for the batteries.
All right, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
I gave back my Tesla. I bought the Volkswagen EV. I love it. I'm not going to do her voice, by the way. I'm not sure how advertisers can buy space on Twitter. Publicly traded companies' products being pushed in alignment with hate and white supremacy doesn't seem to be a winning business model. That's what she said. And we're going to link some other tweets that she said previously. Hodge twins, if you don't know who they are, they have a podcast as well. Conservative Twins, I believe it's called. Hodge twins come back and say, Volkswagen was literally founded by Nazis and Hitler, which is true. And we didn't do any particular research, but I think it was like 1937. And they started something called the People's Car.
The People's Car, yeah.
Yeah, they named it something different, but they changed the name to the People's Car to make the
Farfignugan.
Yeah, to make the people believe it was real. And then Nick Searcy, who is actually a conservative movie star and producer, comes out and says, which I think is pretty funny. He's obviously pretty secure in his position. Democrats are stupid. She traded in a car made by an African American for a car from a company developed by the Nazis while whining about white supremacy, which I thought was pretty classic. That summed it up. So,
yeah. By the way, Nick Searcy made a movie not that long ago. I don't know if he was part of. I don't think it was Plot Against the President. I think it was another one. Geez, I guess I should have looked it up before I opened it.
He did. He's been out there, and he's mostly behind the camera now.
Yeah, and he's a real patriot. Look him up if you want to find out some truth. He's a solid guy.
He played the chief marshal in Justified with Timothy Olyphant.
Right,
yeah, pretty good stuff. So anyway, here's the twist. So we can read this stuff; it's no big deal. And you think, oh, she's just running her mouth. She's making she's taking a stance. It's not a Me Too. It's a Me EV or whatever stance. So I'm doing a little digging, and I come up with this fact that Alyssa Milano has a podcast called Sorry Not Sorry. I didn't know that. Evidently, she's got a lot of time on her hands.
Most people didn't know it.
Yeah, and about 4 more people now will know it after they hear this.
Yeah.
So. But I dug around, and like you, Paul, like you say, watching CNN, I listened to a couple podcasts, so you didn't have to.
I appreciate that
because it was excruciating. And the one I found that, and like I said, this goes to character.
You have a clip?
I do. David Korn, he's promoting a book. He was promoting a book. This was recent, very recent. And I'm not going to tell you what the name of the book is because I really don't care. I'm never going to read it. And I don't expect anybody that listens to this to want to read it. But basically the podcast was on how the Republican Party went crazy, which is exactly what you would expect from a Democrat, to accuse you of doing what they've been doing.
Yeah, it's projection.
Yeah. But give you a little background before we play the clip. David Korn is a veteran Washington journalist. There's a surprise. And a political commentator. There's also a surprise. He was at the Washington bureau chief for Mother Jones magazine, which is hugely funny. And I don't really want to go. If you really want to get what they're about, look up Mother Jones. That's all you got to do. It's pretty much of a hack left-wing socialist / communist publication.
Right. We can do a whole segment on that alone.
Well, yeah, exactly. And this basically, like I said, this goes to character. The first clip is going to be Korn himself. And again, it's not much of Alyssa. So you're probably going to sit there and say, well, what do you care about him? But just listen to what he's saying. This is a whack job, and she's kissing his ass on this podcast.
The problem that we face, the real problem that we face is not, of course, Donald Trump. He's just one guy. It's the fact that tens of millions of Americans buy what he says and are susceptible to his con game, to the short con and the long con. And so they believe that Democrats are pedophiles. They believe that Joe Biden is working with Antifa and communist radicals and anarchists to destroy your suburbs.
Yeah, because he is.
Joe Biden, they either believe that he's a maniacal, diabolical, grand schemer, or He's a doddering old man who can't tie his own shoes. Doesn't really matter. The logic here.
I'm just going to cut into that 1 second because already he's lied, and I don't know if I can go the rest of the 2 minutes for listening to this guy. He's not either or. We know he's a puppet, and we know he's taking orders. So it's not either or. Right. It can be both.
And also his past, his record that's been trying to be has been covered up for the past years, just proves what a freaking thief and corrupt asshole he really is.
Yeah, and this guy's going to twist because
he was a big pusher of Russiagate too, by the way.
Oh, of course. With anything that benefits the party, whatever party that is that he belongs to. But here we go.
Doesn't matter. I call the book American Psychosis because there's a degree of irrationality driving this that, again, is not new. In 1964, the wonderful Pulitzer Prize-winning historian Richard Hofstadter wrote a very influential essay that became part of a book called The Paranoid Style of Politics. And he said that America has long had this paranoid current in its politics. And you can trace it back to the early 1800s, throughout the 1800s, throughout the 1900s, even before McCarthyism. There was the anti-Illuminati movement, the anti-Masonic movement, and in fact, there was a lot of anti-Catholicism in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It was basically bad crap conspiracy theorizing, in which they said the Pope was raising troops that would go through a tunnel under the ocean to come over and take control of America. And it was Republicans and the Klan who were making that case. You know, that was...
Stop the tape. Again.
The Klan? Isn't the Klan founded by the Democrats?
Yeah, and the Republicans. So the guy blatantly lies. This guy's blatantly lies. And there's nobody to challenge him. And this is on her podcast. That's why I played this, because I was like astounded. And this goes to her character, her stupid character. Or you could say ignorant, but I think she's just plain stupid.
Yeah.
It's
tomato.
It's mind control. These people believe, and you know, you can see what's happening with Twitter and Musk. Did you see? All of a sudden, just out of thin air, the EU threatened Musk this afternoon.
Yeah. What the frig does the EU have to do with it, right?
Well, who do you think gave him a phone call?
Yeah.
Somebody from our intel community or Biden administration? Of course they did.
Yeah. Son of a gun. Yeah. I'm gonna. If you can bear with me, I'll try to go a little more with this guy. This guy's you could do a show just on him. But once again, the purpose of this is so that you understand the associations.
The center of anti-Catholicism bigotry. So it's always been there. It didn't start with McCarthyism. It didn't start with Trump. We've seen irrationality, paranoia, unease, which is sometimes exacerbated in times of either economic or demographic change. And you have scoundrel politicians who have figured out how to exploit it for their own interests.
Scoundrel politicians.
Just a moment.
Yeah. Here, listen to her.
Okay.
And you open your book at the 1964 Republican Convention, where Nelson Rockefeller, who you describe as the symbol of American dynastic power and wealth, receiving a pretty heated reception because he dared to challenge the arch conservative Barry Goldwater. Why did you start there?
To me, it was another mob. It was different than the mob that attacked the Capitol, but it was a mob. This was the 1964 Republican Convention. The essence of the primary contest that year was Nelson Rockefeller, the governor of New York, who was considered a liberal moderate Republican, running against Barry Goldwater, who was the hero of this new rising, burgeoning conservative movement. Very far right. He had talked about getting rid of a lot of government programs, getting rid of welfare programs, even engaging the Soviet Union in nuclear war if that was necessary to beat back the threat of communism. Very hard and fast libertarian.
I'm sorry you guys had to listen to that, but
so is it bad to to push nuclear war? Is that a bad thing? Isn't that what Biden's doing right now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's bad to push it. It's not necessarily bad to negotiate by saber rattling. But this guy almost the points that he made that were actually true we're in reverse. So the guy's a professional academic liar,
Right. Right.
So.
Well,
but anyway, I thought that was
she's just led by the nose, and she'll just take it.
Yeah, she's got this podcast, and I'll play the other clip in a second. But she which is mostly just her. She's got this podcast, and this is what she does. I think she's pretty bored. She just turned 50. She's pretty bored, so she's I think she's a little fickle. So.
Yeah, she has a lot of money and a lot of time on her hands, so she's got to do something, and that's what she's doing.
I think we lost Paul.
I'm just looking up. I don't know how deep we want to go into Rockefeller.
Not deep. So, I didn't know he was a liberal, moderate Republican. Yeah.
There's a lot of darkness in the Rockefeller.
Wow, yeah, of course there was, and that whole. I mean, I don't recall that election like it was yesterday, but it was an interesting take this guy has, and like again, I said it's superficial just to go to character. But let me read a couple of these tweets previously released by Miss Milano in regards to Mr. Musk, as it were. They even have some dates on them, like going back to, this is 2014, at Elon Musk. You're amazing. Here's another one from 15, from Alyssa. 4 people you'd want to have over for dinner, or what'd you say? 4 people you'd want to have dinner with, dead or alive. Mine? ? Jesus, Roberto Clemente, John Lennon, and Elon Musk.
Who the hell's Roberto Clemente?
I think he played baseball or something.
Oh.
Here's one replying. Let's see. This is to Elon Musk and William Shatner from 2016. I love you both.
William Shatner?
Yeah. Remember when he went up? They're doing the space, whatever the frig. Anyway, another one from her. Thank you at Elon Musk and Tesla. So she had an infatuation for years with Elon because he was, the electric car is going to save the planet,
right?
And on and on and on and on. And then now she's, you racist, you white supremacist, because free speech is racist.
Oh, you know what? I feel sorry for her husband, man. What a poor bastard he must be. Imagine living with that.
I don't know if it's a real, if it's a put on, I mean, who knows? Or if this is something she actually believes.
I don't know.
I just don't know how.
It's hard to tell how deeply held any of these beliefs are, because the currency among these types is social justice, victimhood, groupthink, virtue signaling. That's like having a Gucci bag. You know what I mean?
Right. Until Gucci's not the thing anymore.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah. Then it's Valentino or something. But yeah, it's it goes back to the origins of this whole identity politics thing. You take the group, you split them up into individual piles of victimhood, and then you take all your separate piles of victimhood, you put them all together as a mob. So now you have a mob full of little identity groups, and that's how you conquer. And none of them. This clown Korn was talking about. This goes back to 18. None of these guys did anything that was original. They stole it from all the best megalomaniac mass murderers that there were. Back to Genghis Khan. For crying out loud. None of this stuff is original. The Democrats don't have an original thought in their head. And if you bother doing the history, you could take an example of today's Democratic movement and go back probably 1,000 years and attribute it to somebody else.
You mean some ancient family or something like that?
No, an ancient philosophy.
Tribe philosophy.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, so let's put her on by herself. She's more or less by herself, but this is it's a little cringy. So enjoy.
So from the 50s into the 90s, the American right had communism to point to as the big monster under the bed waiting to basically destroy everything America stood for. It's been more than 30 years now since the USSR broke apart. How did the right keep scaring people into siding with it when the Iron Curtain collapsed?
That's a great question. And the right used the threat of communism to not just say the Democrats were weak, that they weren't fighting it strongly enough, but they were an internal subversive enemy. They were in league with the communists. They were communist dupes. They didn't understand the threat. They weren't true patriotic Americans. They were more concerned with civil rights or the Vietnam War in the 60s. And so there was always this two-part component. One was just being scared of the evil Soviets overseas, but the other was decrying liberals and progressives as either being dupes or in league with this force.
Did any of that make any sense at all? I mean,
well, real quick, who was the president that we all know and love that had the Cuban Missile Crisis? John F. Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy.
Wasn't he a Democrat?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I mean. If you have, I mean, you don't need, look, all you got to do is graduate high school and have a decent a class in history to know this guy is so far off the hooks. And she's sitting there drooling. Oh yeah, they used communism as the boogeyman for so long, and now there's no communism other than the CCP. But so yeah, she's stupid.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll give you that.
I think I proved my case.
Stupid. Man, all she needs to do is just shut her mouth and smile. That's it.
Well, does she sing? No, she's an actor, right?
Yeah.
But
well, she doesn't have. She can't sing. Did you ever listen to her voice? No.
No.
She ain't singing.
I had enough of her. I don't even know, what was she in? A bunch of.
I don't know. She was Tony Danza. And she was like Tony Danza's daughter on that show.
Yeah. I remember that.
Other than that, I don't know. I think she did a witch thing too.
Yes,
she was like a witch or something. Charmed. Yeah.
That's where she met up with Rose McGowan, and their beef extended from that because apparently, according to Rose McGowan, Alyssa Milano was a real stuck-up bitch. Yeah.
She's been in the business for a long time.
That's a tyrant, basically, on the set. Yeah, she recounted that every time the season was renewed, she felt sick to her stomach, knowing that she'd have to go back and deal with Milano again.
Wow. It's ironic because if you did that now, you'd be considered a bully, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Women don't are not measured against the same rules as men.
No. No, if they were, there'd be more female garbage people.
She was raised Catholic, right?
Yeah,
Milano.
But she's had a few divorces. Divorces. Well, yeah, she's been divorced. She was married for 1 year to some guitar player in a band. And she had a couple of abortions.
Well, let's just throw this out here. The Pope is nominally Catholic too, so
she's a cliche.
That ain't saying a whole lot.
Yeah.
For those who don't know about our current Pope.
Well, there's this Pope. Yeah, he's.
I didn't know that we had a current Pope, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's Francis. He's another.
I thought the Pope was John Paul.
Oh, you're thinking back to your younger days, man.
The Pollock. Yeah, I don't think he's around anymore. Yeah.
John. I thought the Pope was always John Paul. No.
No.
Obviously, you weren't raised Catholic.
No, I guess I wasn't.
You didn't see the proper smoke signals at the change.
Yeah, is it white smoke and we pick the Pope?
Something like that.
Like that. Yeah.
Oh, I heard something like that. They put smoke if the smoke comes out a certain color out of the yeah. That's all weird stuff, right?
It's a religion. What are you going to do? Religions sometimes can be pretty weird, So
yeah.
But I don't think her Catholicism has anything to do with the way she is presenting herself today. I think she has some serious issues, and I don't care what anybody thinks or says. If you want to go put your little pink hat on and go scream about Me Too, that's fine. But I don't think you should be hypocritical. I think there should be a law that you can't be hypocritical all within a 2-year period. They're like, there has to be a time frame, because like nobody thinks that we remember.
Yeah, well, especially in this day and age when everything is recorded. Don't you think that she like goes home at night and watches herself on TV, like when she's on like The View or something, and watches it, what she said and says, "Oh my God, did I say that? I don't believe that."
No, I don't think. I'll take things that never happened for 1,000.
And that is part of the psyche, the makeup of these individuals that for some reason or another lean left. And that Corn fella was trying to subtly point out that there's a difference between liberalism and progressives, and he also brought up a couple of points, like, for example, conspiracy theories. That the term conspiracy theory wasn't around 100 years ago.
Right.
That was produced. And I'd bet my last dollar that it was propagandized by our very own. I won't tell you the name. I'll just tell you.
That term was created in Langley in the 60s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was going to say it rhymes with CIA.
Yes, that's very
and it's not a conspiracy theory if it's proven true, right?
No, but they had to. I think they originally did it over the assassination of JFK because people were murmuring.
Well, exactly. And the funny part of it is this dumb word that nobody said 3 years ago, prior to 3 years ago, gaslighting. It's a ridiculously stupid terminology for psychological operations on the American people, perpetrated by anybody, as long as it's in mass and successful. That's what this the terminology was created for, to make you look like an idiot. It's like salt. If you take the two components separately, they're deadly. We put them together, it's a accoutrement for a steak. Conspiracy by itself is a thing. Theory by itself is a thing. Suddenly you put the two together and you're nuts.
Yeah.
It made you equate that to the proverbial aluminum foil hat. And like Paul said, because wait a minute, what's his name? And Joe, this is one of your topics. What's his name didn't pop off 3 rounds with the Carcano bolt action.
No.
So yeah, I'm theorizing that maybe there was another shooter,
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not sure if this is a direct quote, but JFK wanted to dismantle the intelligence communities brick by brick, the military-industrial complex,
he made that public, yeah.
And he died, I think, 2 weeks later after making that statement.
Yeah, hey, Joe, if you ever become president, please don't make me your attorney general.
Well, I got to make you something. No, yeah. You would have a job that the public has never heard of before. It probably exists, that job, but it's like one of those jobs that nobody ever hears of.
Because that'd be a no-hitter right there, So.
Yeah. I'm just gonna write something on a piece of paper and just hand it to you, and then it's taken care of. That's all.
Yeah, I can see Jimmy reads it and then puts it in his mouth and swallows.
Yeah, nobody will ever know what I did. But that whole brotherhood thing didn't work out for the Kennedys, So
no,
I mean, that's kind of funny. But anyway, yeah. So I mean,
that's why I'll never be president.
Well, that and a few other reasons, yeah.
Yeah, president isn't enough. I need to be king.
King Paul.
Yeah, we would King Paul the Just, and trust me, you would see change on a massive scale.
Well, like I said, if I ever have the golden scepter,
yeah. Would there be hope and change, Paul?
Well, there would be death, hope, and change. Death, change, and hope. something. We'll figure out the order later.
Yeah, if I was king, I want my nickname to be Tiananmen Jim. So.
Speaking of Tiananmen Jim, the tanks were released in China. Just we got to throw that out there.
Yes. Release the tanks.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
gooks.
Hey, I heard if you're a welding contractor in China, you're doing pretty well right now.
Yeah.
They're keeping you busy welding the doors closed of the people's houses so they can't get out, so they become COVID zero.
I heard the firemen are doing pretty good too.
Insane.
And I'm not talking about the guys that put the fires out. I'm talking about Fahrenheit 451 firemen.
Man, oh man.
I mean, Xi cleansed the Communist Party. There's like, I don't know, 300,000, 500,000 members that rule the country. He cleansed them ahead of his coronation last month.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
You think he's going to put up with some plebs out there in the streets? Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Well, ultimately, he really wants to kill them. I mean, he wants to get rid of half his population.
Well, we don't know. He doesn't want to do that. They've got population problems already.
No. He wants to get rid of all the weak and all the people. He wants to get rid of He wants to get rid of all that dead weight. There's too many people there. Yeah, don't think for a second that he wants to keep those people.
Yeah, I think you're wrong on that. He just wants to re-educate them, and that could be why we see all these pictures of camps being built again.
I personally think that the COVID-19 release was a mistake. I think it was supposed to be amped up, and I believe I could be wrong. Speaking of going back to circling back to conspiracy theories, but I think that deliberately released bio weapon was designed to affect the population of China. I have no way to prove that, but other than this, some of the anecdotal evidence of that much more deadly strain that they found at the lab in Massachusetts. But I don't know.
Well, they didn't find it; they made it.
Well,
yeah,
they created it.
They had to create that just in case somebody else created that. They would know how to fight against it. Don't you understand anything?
Yeah. Did you see Fauci's interview on Sunday?
His goodbye to him.
I couldn't bring myself down to it.
He says, I'm doubtful that we funded the creation of the COVID in Wuhan.
Well, okay. Even though there's records and emails that directly link him, it's interesting. Right. It's almost as if he knows nothing's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
You think? And I don't want to get off on a tangent.
Republicans are going to blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're not going to. He'll be one of those guys that refuses the subpoena and nothing will happen to him. Unlike Navarro, for example.
Right.
But that's the way.
Bannon
Stone
or
Trump, for that matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we play here. So anyway, I think we piled on metaphorically piled on Alyssa Milano enough tonight. And
did we do the gun control thing?
No. Well, she's for gun control.
Oh, she's a massive supporter of every town and
fill us in.
And all that. Yeah, and then it came out in an interview a couple of years ago that she keeps handguns in the home for safety.
Oh, yeah. But again, you're not understanding how this works. She's an important person with a lot of money.
Right.
She needs to have protection. Don't you? We don't need protection because we got nothing to protect. She's a valuable person, and that's why she needs it. So back off on her a little bit.
We can say, hold on, Mr. Rapist. The police are on their way.
Exactly.
No. Again, what's wrong with you guys? The police aren't on their way. A social worker is on his way.
Right.
Well, okay.
Yeah, come on.
Because the rapist needs to be educated.
Had a bad childhood.
Right.
That's right.
You must submit to the rapist.
Grandma says he's turning his life around.
He was probably on his way to school, college, no doubt.
On his way to college, yeah.
Yeah,
church, maybe church.
And he couldn't resist because it was his upbringing. And he was, he's probably anyway.
Not his
she
fault.
definitely wins the queen of hypocrisy of the week for sure.
Yeah, we're talking about her on Twitter. She's a twit. She's a mindless, freaking meat puppet that's paraded around by invisible strings, created by the media and whoever else.
Well, yeah, and it's ironic that she had to come back on Twitter to do this because I just don't see where their egos will allow them to stay off of it too long. Because let's face it, for as long as it's been up, they've had a voice that was uncontested.
Well, and it's still uncontested. She said she was leaving Twitter. She was going to end her account, and then she changed her mind. She goes, "No, I'm not going to leave." She said that. What did she say? I'm going to stay because it's something to do with it's worth fighting for the territory to get the territory back or something like that.
To defend against the Nazis.
Yeah, But
she can defend against the Nazis while she's driving her Volkswagen. That makes perfect sense.
Well, I think it's interesting that she's not going to be censored. She's going to be allowed to say whatever is on her mind.
By the way, I would gather, or I would guess, that she's also a big proponent of environmentalism and climate change and all that. Am I safe there without having to look it up?
I think you're safe.
And
that's probably one of the reasons why she drives an EV.
Well, it just so happens that Volkswagen suffered the largest fine in auto manufacturing history for fraudulently doctoring their emissions testing.
That's right.
What was it? 3 billion, 8 billion?
I
don't know.
I forgot about that, but yeah, they fudged their numbers.
Yep.
Okay, let's take a final vote. Before we close out, ignorant or stupid?
I vote aye.
Aye.
And that's a dangerous combination.
Man, oh man. She's a piece of work.
I'm ignorant, but I'm smart as fuck. So
you know the difference between ignorance and stupidity? Yeah. You can fix ignorance by educating yourself.
Yeah. Can't fix stupid.
Some people ought to have to wear a sign.
Yes.
All right, fellas. So this is a little offbeat for us, but like we said earlier, it's kind of a red meat, low-hanging fruit thing, and it needed to be done.
Yes, and mockery is always an effective tool to help.
Yeah, and she was easy because it's just right there. It's just right there.
She's what? She's 50 years old, but it's almost like you're dealing with a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
I think that's where she is. Her brain is like an adolescent brain.
Well, she's never had a chance to develop because all she's ever done was made believe she was somebody else her entire life.
Yeah, this is true. So, she's not like a Scientologist or anything, is she?
I don't think she knows how to spell that.
No, okay.
So I think that's a qualification for Scientologists. You have to be able to spell it. So,
that's a whole other.
I'm not sure Alyssa Milano could spell IQ, but I'd like to ask her in person. So, anyway, if you're listening, Alyssa, thank you for being a champ, and me too.
Yeah. Me too.
Fellas, let's get out of here.
Yeah, we've had enough.
All right. Have a good night. Remember, you can contact us on shineboxcontact@gmail.com. We're on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. What is it?
Rumble.
Yeah, wherever you find your favorite podcasts, including Amazon and Google as well.
All that good stuff.
Yeah. All right, guys. Always, it's been a pleasure. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.